Hi, this is Maurizio from KATAKLYSM, and you're listening to That Metal Interview Podcast.
That Metal Interview.
Melodic death metal masters KATAKLYSM. The legendary KATAKLYSM from the 90s is our focus for this episode and installment of That Metal Interview Podcast for this episode. And of course, we have the frontman, Maurizio Iacono. The great band from the 90s keeps steaming and keeps chugging awesome music. And right now they are promoting a brand new album by the name of Goliath, which comes out this Friday and is already available by the time you guys check this episode out. So go out there and pick up Goliath, stream it, download it, purchase it, visit their store, blah blah blah, you know what to do. So anyways, right now let's check out a jam from KATAKLYSM, a song and video by the name of Die as a King. Check it out. extreme metal, you might call it. You might call it death metal. Either way, your face will melt with Kataklysm. And Maurizio chats about their recent tour with D-Side. He chats about, of course, the new album Goliath, which I got to listen to, and I highly, highly recommend this album. So pick it up, guys and girls. Pick up Goliath. It is now available. And right now we're going to go straight into the interview with Maurizio of KATAKLYSM. Check it out. So let's speak of your new album, Goliath, dropping August 11th, Nuclear Blast Records. Can you talk to us about the arrangements? Who wrote all the stuff, lyric-wise? Who's the riff master and all that?
Yeah, well, it's always going to be JF. Our guitar player is the kind of like the... It's kind of the heart of the band as far as, writing riffs is concerned and stuff like that. But arrangements have been made by everybody involved on the record that's in the band. And, this is the first record we do with James that came in the band on this album. So it's a fresh new start for us in a way. And in another way, it's like a continuation of our evolution, So it's been a pretty cool record. It was the process was, different because we wrote this record last year during kind of like the winding down of the pandemic, and but we had like 2-3 years of build up, so it's kind of that type of record. It's much more aggressive than the thing what we're usually doing, and it's kind of in your face, type of record. And I think that's what the emotions were like.
So who is the guy that writes the lyrics?
So that's me. Obviously, I'm the vocalist, so I put everything into perspective when I do it, and I write everything for the band when it comes to the lyrics. What
do you do before writing a song? Is it a spontaneous, or do you sit down and maybe read a book or watch a movie before grabbing a pen? Or
so every time we do a record, we have it already like in a concept album title already ready to go, because that's how we put our foundation. And then when the foundation is down, then we're ready to start building it up with the music. So we have to have a theme, we have to have a direction, a look. So basically, if I don't have ideas, then nothing's gonna happen. Like, it's one of those things where we're just kind of like going as we feel. And for me, music's very therapeutic. So I use it for my own self. So it's basically, that's why we pump so many records out. Like that's an important factor that makes the Kataklysm very real as a band. It's not just there as a work or just having fun or whatever. This is actually something that we are needing in our lives. So that's the inspiration behind it.
Wow, very well said. Very cool. Some fans, they don't know that, I guess. Maybe they think you just, this is my job, and let me grab a pen and let me see what I can come up with and whatever. But this is part of your inspiration, it's part of your life, and it's 100% inspiration.
I'm sure there's bands, when you look at the theme, if they talk about gore stuff or they talk about Satan or whatever, after a while, it's repeating yourself doing the same thing. It's gonna become more work. It's like there's a limit to what you can say about those type of topics. Kataklysm is very mind-oriented. It's very social-based. It's about life in general. And it's the psychological war that happens in your mind. That's pretty much where the Kataklysm battleground is. You know what I mean? So it's a different approach.
Yeah, man, you guys got awesome music. You guys just complete metal all the way. As a fan, it's just awesome. So talk to me about Die is a King. Sounds awesome. It starts fast and there's time change. And so what's going on with this song? Can you talk to us a little bit about that song?
It's a very the song's very generalized in the sense that it has like a lot of elements coming from all directions. So you got the melodic aspect to this song, but you got also the brutality. You have groove. So you have a lot of time changes that happen. So it's a very complete song. It's a very, I would say, traditional song in that sense for Kataklysm, because it encompasses all of our influences in one track. So it's kind of a good indicative of where the record is standing. You know what I mean? But for example, the single before that, Bring Your Vengeance, was more groove oriented with like big chorus and like just like a big monster for a live setting. Die as a King is more like you sit back, you listen to it, you see the intricacy, it's a little bit more, and it's catchy, that it's still a very catchy track, but it's a bit different in that aspect, so it's more generalized.
Play guitar. I'm a musician here in Texas, and I'm not as good as you guys. I'm just a local musician, but I do understand and appreciate what you guys are doing. I mean, if you combine musicianship and then you mentioned right now the word brutality, it just it sounds like Cataclysm. It's just awesome combination right there.
Thank you.
Where did you guys get this? I don't want to say style or the genre. Where did this come from? Is it just a mix of whatever you guys listen to, or what do you point to?
I think we just have all our personalities are different, in the band, but we all get along like brothers. So it's one of those things where, for example, when I grew up, I was really into like early Metallica, and then I got into Pantera and Testament and things like that.
Oh yeah.
I was more into the thrash and the heavy stuff, the rebel music, you know what I mean? Like when Pantera came out, it just kind of killed grunge, you know what I mean? So it was kind of like I was into that type of stuff more, and then I got into death metal like Cannibal Corpse and Deicide and all that stuff, so I liked all that stuff. But my main focus was all that groove oriented stuff like that, and Machine Head 2 and Fear Factory, and I used to like that stuff more, so then JF would come in, and he's a big Iron Maiden guy, and likes melodic stuff, likes also Dissection, things like that. And then my bass player is much more of the heavier guy, where he'll like all the heavy shit, like he's like a big death metal guy. So I think that the mix of all that has created Cataclysm. It's kind of like everybody's like understanding what each other likes, and we're all coming to the table bringing something different. And I think that's what makes Cataclysm diverse.
Wow. Not many words I can say. It's just awesome stuff. The combination that you talk about. So let's talk about the video real quick for Die as a King. You guys were jamming in the jail. Where was this shot at, the video?
Well, so it was all of it was shot in South America. No, sorry, it was all shot in Serbia. When we flew out to Europe, we were going to do earlier in the year we were doing a tour with Soulwork. It was Cataclysm with Soulwork across Europe, and then we just decided to stop in Serbia first because they have really good facilities there to film big budget videos for much cheaper than doing it in the States, for example. So we were able to shoot 2 videos over there, and so the concept, it's like some of it is green screen, but most of it is real life acting and like real life stuff. So it was shot in Serbia.
So is it a real jail cell or is it green screen?
That one is green screen.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, it looks real, right? Like it's really
wow.
good job, yeah.
Technology,
yeah,
huh?
real good job. Yeah.
So give me your
The rest
favorite.
is real, though. The rest is real. The king sitting in the castle, that's all real. Like, so that's what's cool about it. It's like how he was able to kind of move those two things together,
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Awesome stuff. So give me your favorite song on Goliath.
Tough to choose, man. It's a very tough record to choose.
Right.
I really like the opening track, Dark Deception's a very big song. That's going to be the third and last video for it. That's coming out on August 11. It's going to be a really sick video we shot out here in Florida. And then I have I really like the title track Goliath, and I really like that Combustion song as well. I think it's a big song. It's a big live track. I'm big on groove, so those are going to be my favorites with Bringer of Vengeance, So those are like my personal favorites.
How is Goliath different than Unconquered? Would you say they're kind of similar, or would you say they're a little bit different? So
the sound is coming from Unconquered, right? So because we made a major shift going into Unconquered, which 7-string, like changed down tuned, all that stuff. So this album is kind of like coming from an evolution from that record as far as like perfectioning the sound. I think the sound's stronger on this album. It's very, very well mixed. You have every instrument is well positioned. So I think it's A1 as far as production's concerned. Musicianship, it's going to be a lot more heavier. It's a different world now. When we recorded Unconquered, it was pre-pandemic. The album was done. And we gave it to Nuclear Blast pretty much when they were shutting down everything. So it was kind of like, wow, we just did this on time, but then we can't really promote it. So it was kind of the era and the thinking behind that record was different. We also had a different drummer on that album. This one, to me, is like the build-up of those 2-3 years of bullshit we went through, and then just like put into a weapon, pretty much, and it's like and released, and that's pretty much what Goliath is. It's a much more aggressive record. It's very ambient in the sense that it has like very dark endings everywhere, and it's a very strong record. It's very real to us.
Nice. So here's a different question, Maurizio. I ask all my guests the same question. Do you think new bands, or whichever band, metal or rock, do you think you guys need a record label to make it out there these days, or do you think the bands can get out there by themselves with just social media nowadays? What's your opinion on that?
So some bands, in my opinion, that are young and that are starting on their own and get a buzz right away, and they're starting to be able to capitalize, capitalize on it, are able to survive on their own. Or if they're very well established and everything is there already for you, it's also okay. There's a possibility of that, because you can hire all the companies that publicists and things like that and make it on your own. But you need a budget, right? So it's like you need to have money for that. I still believe that record labels can be valuable in the sense that they are the marketing push that you need. It's like you're giving some rights away, yes. I think those things are changing as far as like you don't have to give away your career now like a lot of us did in the early days. You can give a time frame now to like a more reduced time frame for them to work your records, but then you're getting an entire team behind it, right? You're getting a marketing team, you're getting a production manager, you're getting like your A&R. So they're gonna have things that you don't have at your disposal to bring you out there, so I'm still a record label believer. But I do think that things are changing, and that there is a way to survive also independently,
Yeah, good answer. Wow. So you guys just finished a couple of months ago, a couple of dates in Latin America with D-Side, one of my favorite bands. How did that go?
Really good. We're very good friends with the boys in D-Side. I mean, Glenn lives only like an hour and a half from me, where I live now, and so we're friends. Wow. And we've toured together many times in the States already, like twice, and then we did the South American tour now. And so we have that connection. We're actually going to do a couple of shows together in Poland now too soon, so we're looking forward to that. And so it's going to be awesome. It was awesome in Latin America. I mean, it's a tough place to tour, because you got to fly every day. You do your concert, and then next day you're on a plane again. So it's flying to country. Like we did 14 countries, we did 17 flights on that one. So it's a pretty heavy schedule, but it's worth it. The crowds down there are crazy.
Very crazy and passionate for sure, right?
Yep.
So how do you maintain yourself, Maurizio, on for that tour, for example? How do you take care of your voice or just yourself? Your body. You got to run around airports and stuff.
Yeah, well, it's tough, right? Because you're like, it's at some point it catches up. No matter how you wanna, twist and turn it. It's a tough situation, right? So it's tough on the body, on the mind. You're away from your family, so that's hard. Especially if you have kids, which we all do in my band, except my drummer. But he's younger, so he's okay. But for us, it's tough. But it's also our passion, right? So when you do something you love, and you meet people that are interesting, and you're out there with your fans, it makes things a lot better. You know what I mean? Like it just makes it easier. So your body is kind of cool with it. Like it's adapting to the situation now. Obviously, we're not as wild as we were when we were young and partying every day on tour. We do have more responsibilities now, so we're more focused. But it's I have technique for my voice. I used to lose my voice a lot younger, but now it's been pretty solid, and I think it's a confidence thing, and I just warm up before doing my shows so I don't do any damage.
Yeah, speaking of your voice, you were doing bass back in the 90s, right? And then you just took over the vocals, right? You dropped the bass. Mm-hmm. So what happened there? Can you talk to us about that change?
Well, so KATAKLYSM was a band that had like it had a vocalist, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I started on bass. It had a vocalist. The idea is that we wanted to continue that type of imagery. So keeping on singing with bass would have changed dramatically the look of the band, and would have changed also the dynamics. So I abandoned the bass to do only vocals, and also, obviously, I'll be honest with you, it would have been very difficult for me to do both. I'm not skilled enough, in my opinion, to be doing both things like that. Like, let's say a Slayer or whatever, that they're capable of doing things like that. So it would have been difficult for us,
Glenn Benton also does that, huh? Yeah.
Yep, of course.
Very cool.
He's a monster.
Yeah, he's a beast. Real quick, how is it talking to Glenn Benton? Some people think he's an evil guy sitting on a throne somewhere in a mountain. And is he a cool guy, or?
He's a sweetheart, man. He's just a cool dude. He just likes his weed and likes to be happy, and and when it's time for business, he puts his armor on and he's out there. You know what I mean? So it's like he's a very authentic person. So that's the one thing with him. He's a no bullshit type of guy, and if you're cool with that, then you'll be cool with him, and he'll be cool with you. Sometimes the biggest pit bulls don't bite.
Right. So how were the '90s for metal bands? In your case, what did you guys go through? Did you guys struggle? Because you guys were around in the '90s too, right?
Yeah. So we started in the '90s. So like the difference is that it was an open game back then, an open field where everybody would compete, help each other. It's a bit different. Now there's a lot of kind of elitist groups where you have, certain conglomerate of bands that only tour with each other, and that's why you see that a lot on tours. They're kind of like in their groups, so you have a lot of sections like that, and once in a while there's some cooperation, but most of it is become like that, so they kind of gatekeep their industry on their side, and there's a little bit of that going on, which is different, which I don't really like too much. But sometimes you're forced into those situations, and it is what it is. But it was more innocent. That's the word I'm trying to find.
Yeah.
Like when we first started in the '90s, it was just like new. It was a new world, and we thought fuck, like we're playing the heaviest crazy shit on earth, and we're out here, and we're part of that generation of the beginning of it, right? So it's crazy to see how far it's been.
Wow, very cool.
Cannibal Corpse, all these bands, like they were all there a couple of years before us, but we were all part of that same generation,
Very cool, wow. So give us an update on EX-DEO. What's going on there?
So we're gonna probably start writing some material end of the year. We'll have a little bit of space to start working on some ideas. I'm gonna try and put a record together next year if I can, but we'll see. It depends on this Cataclysm record. Right now it's on fire, so it's like we're looking to be very busy, and we're getting a lot of demand right now, so we have to kind of find the time to do it right, so we might just do an EP in the meanwhile, and then wait it out for the album and see where it goes.
How about Invictus? Is that done for, or is that active?
Well, it was a one-off. There's, it depends on Chris, like Clancy, like he's my partner in it. Like, so if he's available and we have some time, then maybe we'll do another record. But for now, it's kind of just a one-off. It was something I did during the pandemic, and I wanted to do it and experiment a little bit. So it did good. Like, it just depends how far we want to go, and if we want to do it, if we got time.
So what's next for yourself and the band, Maurizio? What's on your agenda here?
We're a couple of weeks before we're going to Europe. We're going to do Wacken and Summer Breeze, Partisan, open air, like a bunch of open airs all over Europe for 2 weeks until the record drops. And then we're doing 2 album release shows in Germany as well, because we're going to be underground there. And then we're coming back home, preparing the campaign for Goliath, and we're going to probably start it in Canada somewhere in November. So, and then after that, we're going to start looking into the United States and Europe next year. So those are the immediate plans that we have that we're starting to put together.
Awesome. So would you like to send a message to your fans listening to the podcast?
Just, keep it metal, stay true to it. Thank you so much for giving us a shot and listening to our music. Thank you for taking the time to do this interview with me. Appreciate you, and stay metal.
Thank you, Maurizio. Hopefully we'll see you in Texas, and you're a cool guy. You're an awesome chat, and awesome work on Goliath. I got to listen to it, and keep it metal, as you said, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
An awesome chat with a legend from the 90s, and they're still kicking ass and melting people's faces and blowing up heads. So keep it metal, as I always say at the end of every episode. And you guys have to check out KATAKLYSM for those of you that are not familiar with this awesome band from Canada. Maurizio, thank you for your time. And also he gave us an update on EX-DEO. Not Dio like Ronnie James Dio. This is DEO, EX-DEO, another band of Maurizio. So anyways, pick that up too. Support him with EX-DEO. And of course, he has another band by the name of Invictus. He's the vocalist for that, and EX-DEO for sure. So thank you guys and girls for accompanying us again and again and again. We truly appreciate your presence, and keep rocking and keep it metal, right? So, and for now, on behalf of your friend James, be on the lookout for other badass artists. We got a member from Crypta coming up. We have a member of Dragon Force coming up, amongst a bunch of other awesome guests as we keep chugging along. So anyways, don't forget to keep it metal.
That Metal Interview.